Year. Today we're talking about Baki. 2018. It's on Netflix. I don't know what else. Year. Today we're talking about Baki. 2018 edition. It's on Netflix. I have no else. I have no other dear. I have no other. Year. We're talking about Baki. 2018 edition. It is on Netflix. I'm on episode 12. Almost on episode 12. And I'll give it easily a solid B. But if you count the CGI and sometimes how the show goes down, I'd easily give it a C minus. CGI isn't bad, it just feels out of place every time I see it. So pretty much someone will be fighting, and then halfway through the fight you'll see CGI, and then it'll go back to the regular animation. Don't know why they do it, but they do it. What I like about Baki is the storytelling. Pretty much Baki is this high school kid who is really strong. And they showed us in one episode, he is so strong that when he does like the random fitness tests you do in gym classes, he's doing better than any other high school student can do. He's basically breaking records, but because he's so strong and it's not really within the bounds of the normal test, there's no way for the teacher to easily give him points. But the teacher made him a deal. If you can do really good in one section, I will let you pass. And he was running faster than any normal person can run, and he passed. And it's at the point he's going to try in school for the most part. And they let us know early on in Baki that there's a lot of different worlds out there. There's a fighting world where strong people can do whatever they want, and there's a regular world where people have to do education. They have to stay within their lane. And I like that because it lets us know that not everybody in Baki is in the same realm. And there's some ex-convicts. There's 5 of them, and they all escaped the same day, seeking the same thing. What every martial artist would want. True defeat. But at first I was wondering, why do they want true defeat? If they're strong, and they can find strong people, what is the actual problem? Why don't they fight each other? Other people? That's not what they want. They want to have a match where it's like, you don't know if you're going to win, or you're going to lose, and you're going to feel terrified about the results to the very end. And they kept mentioning that there's 2 different types of fights. Fights to the death, and regular matches, like the ones they do in tournaments. And they're saying that's the kind of fights they want. Fights to the death. So everybody picked the person they want to fight, and the fight began. But before we got into all the fighting, the official fighting of course, the leader of the whole underground martial art tournament, he came to Baki explaining these convicts' story, and he's like, synchronicity. They all came the same day, wanting the same thing. That's not a mere coinky dink. It had to be fate or something like that. Baki, I'm telling you all this because you're gonna have to fight these guys, and they're all coming to Tokyo to fight you. So even if you say you don't want to fight, even if you say you're not with it, they're coming to fight you. What are you going to do, Baki? And Baki was like, okay, I'll deal with it when it happens, if it happens. They all pulled up and they found the tournament, and the reason they found it, they said they smelled the bloodlust, which I'm sitting here like, how the hell did you smell bloodlust? What made me annoyed in the beginning was how the old man was telling these convict stories. Because at times it felt believable, other times it felt like it was just being extra for the sake of being extra. So he's telling Baki about these convicts. They're all pretty much in trouble for the same reason. They killed people, and they've done it like it's nothing. And they don't care who they kill, who they hurt. They do it because they're strong. And because they're strong, they had to make sure they had maximum security and did everything possible to make sure when they get killed, they're actually dead. But the prison guards, they messed this up, and they messed it up royally. So with one of the guys, his name is Spec, he can hold his breath for exactly 5 minutes straight, even while doing heavy, intense exercising. So, with Spec, they had to be extra careful. He's in this underground prison cell, and they're deep underwater, not even on the surface level, right? So you're sitting here like, okay, Spec can't easily get out. And then the security guard is telling this guy that's going to visit Spec, hey, he is the ex-convict. He can kill you. He will kill you. Be very careful. Take off your belt. Take off your cufflinks. Anything you have on you, he can make into a weapon. So if you want to see this man, we really advise you be extra careful. Yeah, you said you're a champion in boxing or whatever you're good at, but just know this: Spec has killed his previous counselor, who's also experienced in fighting. Just gonna let you know. So he pulls up to where Spec's supposed to be. He can see Spec. Spec kills him with one hit. And the funniest thing is, Spec was in the vent. And I'm like, but you guys are always watching Spec. How do you get in the vent? And he escaped. Another guy, he was super dangerous. Like some old white guy. He's really tall, like a giant. He's really muscular. So here's what happens. They're supposed to give him like the noose, right? They give him the noose. And then they wait 10 minutes. They call in the doctor. The doctor's like, okay, I think he's actually alive. He killed the doctor. All the security guards, they sound the alarm, but he's already gone. And he left a note saying, I'm going to Tokyo. And that was crazy. And every other criminal did a similar thing. They were in facilities where they're not supposed to escape, and they somehow escaped. And they're all coming to Tokyo to fight strong people. And the funny thing is, that same giant old white guy, he pulled up to this karate dojo. In the middle of sparring, training, letting their students know how things work. And he's just beating them up like it's nothing. He challenges the masters. And he's like, oh, that was a good fight. He really injured 2 of them. And then he just walked out there like it was cool. And it got me annoyed. He stomped. And it was like CGI. And I was like, why CGI here? It's not really needed. But, hey, it is what it is. And it turns out, those same karate masters and guys we saw earlier, they're going to fight in this giant battle between these ex-convicts seeking defeat and these masters who have won tournaments and have high prestige, high titles in the fighting world. And I found it crazy how, with some of the masters, their homies are getting beat up by these convicts. And they're not fighting these convicts for revenge. They're just doing it because they're irritated with them. Because one guy, he was really good at fighting to the point he said, I can fight whenever, just let me know. He gets bodied, and then his buddy watched him get bodied. He tried to get revenge for him, but he lost as well. So he gets a second chance to beat up the goon that did his man into the hospital. And then he's like, alright, why are you fighting me for? And he's like, stop playing around. I know you're stronger than this. And he gets bodied, and he lets his goons get bodied too. And he's like, so you just fought me for what reason? That's your fight means for revenge, to avenge your comrade. Doesn't seem like that to me. And you just left. You're trash. And I was gonna say, but you're strong and they have no real idea. They have no real way of defeating you. They don't know your weaknesses. It's like their first time meeting you. So I don't know what you was expecting. And then the fight was over, and I was just like, okay, that was kind of trash. Because at the very end, he had a chance to beat the guy because he screamed. And I was like, I thought you were dead. And he got killed. And he walked away. And then later down the line, we focus on that giant white guy again for some reason. Because the thing is, he is strong. He turns out he was actually a real master of martial arts. But it's just because of his height, his muscles, he always assumed that he was going to win. And even though he had like a good advantage, he always used dirty tricks. This man had a knife in his shoe. He always carried around alcohol and a lighter so he can burn people. And then it turns out he said, oh, that was just a trick he does to hide his real skills. He also knew a trick where he used grease and then break glass bottles and use that so you can like throw glass bottle, like the glass pieces at people. And other times you can like punch them with the power of glass. So I was just like, why are you doing all this and you talking about you want defeat? If you want defeat, why don't you just use your actual skills and fight fairly? But the way the show was implying it, the reason why these guys are ex-convicts, they're scumbags. They're not trying to fight fairly. They don't want a good match. They just want a match where it's like, yo, I'm actually gonna die. So the episode before 12, we saw the craziest thing ever. It was the best timed flashback. So that same old guy wanted to go to the amusement park, but first he was saying he wanted to go to Shinjuku, however you say that word. And he learned that because he severely injured one of the disciples, the whole town was after him because almost everybody in Tokyo knows of that dojo, is affiliated with it in some way, some fashion. So they're all like, alright, Even if you want to get out of this car right now, you're not going to the destination. You're going where we're telling you to go. We're ordered to bring you to this amusement park. You're going to fight. And they start fighting him. First guy, he loses. He's like, alright, y'all can all fight me at the same time. It won't make a difference. You're all going to lose. So if you value your lives, I recommend you just give up now. He walks in the amusement park. He's having fun. He's like actually enjoying the rides, all that stuff. And then out of nowhere, a guy that was super close, the guy he beat in the previous episode, he pulls up like, hey, that's my man's, bro. I'm gonna get revenge. I don't care if I die. And he's like, alright, bet. That's what you got? That's how you feel, bro? Alright, bet. Let's go. So they start fighting. And he's like, this is the first time I fought somebody like my size. Because the other guy was also bulky and tall. So they start fighting. And at first, he got a couple hits in. And then, once again, old man is fighting dirty like before. Where he's doing all these tricks to throw you off. And then, at first, it looked like he was running away. But he led him onto a trap. This man literally brought a dude onto a roller coaster to fight. And he's like, here's what we're going to do. We're going to fight on this roller coaster. Stand up the whole time. And at first, I was just sitting here like, this makes literally no sense. How you going to fight somebody on a roller coaster while standing up? Obviously, with roller coasters, gravity's going to hold you down. But if you're standing up and you're not in your seatbelt, you already know you have to work extra hard because you're going to feel all of that gravity weighing you down. So they're starting to actually fight. The other guy just like, yo, how I'm supposed to beat him? Then remembers as the actual stance you can use to, you know, fight in situations like this. Because there's an actual stance you can do when you're fighting on a boat. And it helps you maintain your balance. So the fight is going well. He's actually getting some hits in. Because, once again, if you're a big guy, on a moving roller coaster, as soon as it does one turn, it's going to push you to the side. So he starts to get the upper hand. And out of nowhere, old boy gonna really jump, like push both of them off the roller coaster at a high speed. And I'm like, yo, he's actually gonna die. So he turns him over so the old guy's gonna fall first. So both of them fall. The guy was fighting the old guy, he passed out. And I'm like, bro, this is actually wild. But I was like, wait, the old guy, he's supposed to fall first. Why is he okay? And he's like, silly boy, don't you know how things work? When you're gonna do a fight like this, you always come prepared. He uses his same crusty trick he had earlier, which is basically, it's like dental floss, but instead of having actual dental floss, it's like really, really strong wires. So it's like, he had his set up so it was gonna land on the light pole, and instead of him hitting the ground and like bouncing up from, you know, the fall, he would just bounce back and it would lighten his fall like he had emergency brakes. That's what he described it. And I was so irritated because I was like, this man planned this far ahead, but how did he know that he would follow him onto the roller coaster? How did he know things were going to play out this way? There was no way you would know all of this was going to happen the way it did. And then they had more flashbacks to give us more backstory to this. Turns out that old guy is actually a martial artist who can shape stones with his hands. So I'm like, okay, this is actually kind of scary. And what makes it kind of messed up, because he's a master, the guys that, you know, practice karate, they're not supposed to fight him because that's not how things work. In their world, you don't really fight karate masters because it's disrespectful. And even if you want to, nah, it can't work out that way. But the master's like, nah, I gotta get revenge. This man cut off my whole hand, and I need that for karate, so I gotta fight him. So he starts fighting him. And at first, he putting in work. It's going great. I'm like, yes, bro, take this old man. But the old man's doing the same old tricks again. And it's like, he almost got him. So he punched him one time, and then he coughed up a bottle. The bottle broke, and it was actual acid. So be careful fighting him, because he felt like, wait, I guess old man fights. He purposely leads you on to think you're winning, gets you to be super confident. And then as soon as you lower your guard, he'll kill you. Or put you in a position where you can't beat him. You can't best him. And I was starting to see why these guys are having a hard time. If you grow up doing tournaments, you know, when you do a fight, there's certain rules to it. You win the fight when your opponent can't fight anymore, when your opponent gives up. But what do you do if your opponent is purposely tricking you into thinking you win or misleading you? How do you tell if you win the fight or you lose the fight? And after thinking about that, I was like, okay, that's why it's so hard, because it's like a battle of fighting fair, sticking to your principles, versus finding someone to do whatever it takes to win. So it's so hard to decide anything. So this old man also knows hypnosis for some reason, because the guy's fighting is called Orochi. He's supposed to be like this karate master who, his name is Dopo Orochi. He's a karate master who actually defeated a whole tiger. And I was like, why you? And he said he couldn't talk about it because no one would believe him, and it's an endangered species, and because of who he is, he couldn't just say, hey, I fight tigers and I won. Because, you know, pride and all that stuff. And he was saying the reason why he wants to fight him the way he is, he cares about his pride as a karate master. He wouldn't want to do anything that would destroy that pride. And I really do understand that now. Because when you really think about it, when you're a martial artist of any kind, how do you make the decision to say, okay, I do whatever it takes to win, versus I'll win with my own ideals and principles? So as the fight's going on, the old man's trick of hypnosis is not working. Actually, it kind of works, but doesn't work at the same time. Let me explain. So pretty much, how he defeated Kato, which was supposed to be one of Orochi's well-known disciples that caused all the problems when he lost and almost got killed by this giant big old white guy. He was like, alright, listen, bro. Hypnosis, it works because that way you're fighting your ideal version of your opponent. They're not going to be as strong as they normally are, and you're going to envision the kind of victory and match you want. But Dopo Orochi over here, he knows, because of all his battle experience, a fight never plays out the way you want it to. So because of that, your little trick of trying to beat him by making him think he's fighting the you he wants to fight, it doesn't work, because the you in his head and the you in real life are really similar. So he expects the tricks. He expects you to be strong. So you can't beat him with trickery alone. And the fight is going on, and he's about to finish off this giant man. And I'm like, woof! And he calls in Kato to deliver the final blow, despite Kato just coming out of the intensive care unit, which makes literally no sense, but symbolically makes sense. If I got defeated by this crazy old man that said, you cannot beat him by sticking to your principles of the martial arts you practice, I would be hurt. And remember, this guy pretty much could have killed Kato, but didn't want to do it to hurt his pride and to prove to him that, yeah, you're strong, but I'm stronger. And after all that, I had to pause the bad boy and talk about it here. So, what I like about Baki as a whole, it's showing me that when you do certain things like martial arts, competitions, you have a certain type of pride, a certain type of entitlement, versus someone that's like on the brawler, or like a brawler, or just a criminal. So thinking like a criminal and thinking like a upstanding citizen, it's two different worlds. So after seeing that, I can kind of understand why these fighters, they can be okay with the police, and the police respect them and their strength despite knowing their roles. And I can see why, yeah, these fighters may be annoying, but I can see why for a long period of time, no one can defeat them. How do you defeat someone that will do whatever it takes to win, and on top of that, they're strong, and they can think on their feet? Must be tough. So, hopefully by the time I finish that episode 12 and 13, it'll be a sensational conclusion. Baki is actually a pretty interesting show. Yeah, it can be weird sometimes, but after seeing everything play out the way it did, it's actually fantastic. Baki just wants to be a regular teenager. He's talking to his girl, he's having fun, and he just wants to protect her. But he understands that because he's strong, people will come after him. And he's ready for that, but he's still a kid, so he's not ready for dealing with trickery and complicated opponents. But hopefully in the end, he'll get a shining moment and he'll prove to everybody he's not just a champ of an underground tournament for no reason. And that's pretty much Baki in a nutshell. So, lots going on, but it all comes together nicely. And all the opponents really want is true defeat. And now I see why it's so hard to do true defeat, because you can do whatever it takes to maintain your undefeated streak. I guess you mix that with a fair fight, doesn't go well. It's like oil and water. So, if you want to watch Baki, it's on Netflix. Tell me your thoughts about it. Are you into martial art type series or not? If you've seen Baki, what do you like about it? What do you hate about it? Let me know in the comment section below. I could really say so much more, but my unit needs me.